It's Cody and Connor with Between Two Birds. It's the best sports podcast that you've ever heard. With the Orioles and Ravens, it's the best of Baltimore. With all the sporting news that you're looking for. Between Two Birds, enjoy the show. Between Two Birds, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of appropriate ages, welcome to the Between Two Birds podcast. I'm your host, Cody Colston.
And I am Connor Garcio.
And with us, we have a very, very special guest, El Jefe himself, the lovely, the wonderful, the Mr. Zach Wilt.
Wow, you hyped that up way too much. How's it going, guys?
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Happy to be here. It's fun to be in this chair after you guys were in this chair on my show last week. So
Yeah, go watch that if you haven't, by the way. It's Baltimore Sports Today episodes, what is it? I don't know.
Oh, man. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I know that.
Yeah,
The
like
numbers escape me. But it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You guys were awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll be awesome. I know you will.
Hopefully.
Yeah, Zach's going to join us for talking some baseball and Orioles, and then he's going to skedaddle after this segue because he has grown-up stuff to do.
Like make tacos.
It's taco night?
It's taco. What's today?
Thursday?
Taco
Taco
Thursday. How about that?
All right, we're going to jump right into the news here. Big news is that the Brewers traded Jean Segura and Tyler Wagner to the D-backs for Chase Anderson, Aaron Hill, and Isnan Diaz. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. Jean Segura is the one that surprises me because I didn't expect the Brewers to give up on him that quickly because it seemed like he had, a great 2013? Yeah, he hit 294 in 2013, and then he had 2 down years. Connor, what's your take on that?
I'm big on Segura. I like his defense a lot, so I can kind of see where the Brewers are coming from. I just want to rebuild at this point. They got the last remaining Diamondbacks prospects after they gave a lot of them to the Braves, but the Brewers are in full-on rebuild mode now.
Yeah, it was Segura's the last piece they got for Greinke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your take, Zach? Let's go to you.
Yeah, I mean, the Brewers rebuilding, I guess, I understand where you're coming from, but not a huge surprise for me. You mentioned that 2013 season, 3.5 wins, but, kind of slumped steeply in the second half of that season, and, hasn't looked too fantastic, I guess, the last 2 years. I know the defense has been good, but kind of replacement level production at the plate the last 2 seasons. So, not a huge surprise for me. The Diamondbacks, man, they're all in though. I had a buddy texting me today. It said, "Give me 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that you think have the best chance," and I threw the Diamondbacks in there as one of my 2 teams. So they're interesting. They're going to be fun. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's I don't know. After making bold predictions about the Padres last year, I hate to jump out here this year.
Yeah, it sounds like Padres all over again. It's
awesome offseason. They're going to win 100 games because I think everybody did that with San Diego last year, and we know how much of a dumpster fire it was for them. But I do feel a little bit better about them than the Padres. I don't know. Take that for whatever you will.
All right. Aaron Hill goes back to the Diamondbacks too. The guy who was made famous. He hit 2 cycles within like 10 days or something.
Yeah.
Crazy like that. And he's heading right back to the D-backs, and that's kind of strange, but all right. The big thing I've heard about Segura though is that the big reason why he's slumping is because of I think after the 2013 season his infant son died.
Right.
And that was the big thing that came out, that he hasn't been the same since then, which, it's completely understandable. Life does that sometimes. So I feel for the guy, but I honestly think he has like maybe top 5 shortstop ceiling. I feel like he can if he can put it together like he did in 2013, easily top 5 shortstop in the league.
Yeah, maybe a change of scenery will be exactly what he needs to get back on the right track.
Yeah, and it's his defense is only going to help that Diamondbacks team because they had like crazy defense last year too. If I'm remembering correctly, which I'm probably not, but take that for what it is.
Yeah, they have Pollock in center field. He's really decent out there.
Yeah, that outfield defense is surprisingly good because what is it? Tomas.
Yeah. Yasmani Tomas, Pollock, and there's somebody else that I'm forgetting. It used to be Geraldo Parra, but then he was traded away. So
they had Inciarte too. They traded him away.
And Inciarte, well, yeah, he was there last year. So
Diamondbacks led the league in defensive runs saved.
Yeah, it was mainly their outfield, which surprised me because Yasmani Tomas is just like he's the fat kid you put in right field.
Try to hide him out there.
Yeah.
They also had David Peralta play. He played 149 games for him, so maybe he played the majority of the outfield, I think.
Okay, that's probably what it was then.
Yeah, because I'm looking. Yasmani Tomas he's ranked as a utility player, if anything. So, because I feel like they tried to play him at third base and
that just failed because Pablo Sandoval makes it work because voodoo magic. I'm just gonna go out there and say that, but it's hard to be a big guy and play third base. I mean, you can skimp by if like you're in the National League and you can hit feast mode. I can't remember his name. Shit. Big third baseman for the Dodgers. Or
Juan Uribe?
Uribe, that's it. He snuck by. Sandoval snuck by at third base, and the only reason he's playing third base in Boston is because they have Ortiz.
And he's probably going to stay at third because Hanley Ramirez is going to take DH when Ortiz retires.
If they don't unload his contract first, which is what they've been trying to do.
Yeah, I saw the video of him trying first base, and it just looked so sad.
Oh my god! Crazy. All right. Well, moving on. Greg Bird is going to miss the entire 2016 season due to shoulder surgery. Connor, your boy's done.
Yeah, last week we got a question: who would you start at first base between Teixeira and Greg Bird? And I picked Greg Bird because I like to go with the younger guys over veterans that are on the decline. So obviously, big loss for the Yankees. Obviously, as an Orioles fan, I'm indifferent because, either way, you're going to face a top power hitting first baseman. But Greg Bird scares me a little bit more than Teixeira at this point.
Right. I mean, I don't really get that hype behind him because very small sample sizes, only 46 games in the majors. I mean, you can look at minor league all you want, and you can never say 100% that's going to transfer. But I mean, he had over an 800 OPS, which is definitely going to open an eye or two, and then 11 home runs, which surprisingly, being a left-hander, a majority of them weren't in Yankee Stadium. He had 5 home, 6 away, so that's also something to look at. And he's probably going to be the first baseman of the future once Teixeira retires or whatever he decides to do after the season because he's no longer on the books. If they decide to start him, or if there's I don't know what the first bacon market the first baseman market is after this season. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out because the first baseman for the Yankees is a very coveted position for some reason.
The pinstripes, man.
Pinstripe effect.
Yeah, everybody likes it.
What, DiMaggio? No, DiMaggio wasn't a first baseman, wasn't he? He was outfield.
He was outfield.
Okay,
Don Mattingly was a first baseman.
There you go.
Mattingly, Gehrig. I can't name any others because I'm not that good.
John Olerud.
Oh, God. You got any more, Connor? Come on. I know you got one more in you.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think back to... Oh, Shelley Duncan.
Shelley Duncan.
2005 New York Yankees.
Scariest eyes ever, by the way. So terrifying.
It's like him and Ryan Domit, scariest eyes in baseball history.
Oh, Max Scherzer is up there too.
They have
different reason, but
they have the Max Scherzer jersey at Nats Park with his name, but then it's just his eyes instead of his number. And I was tempted to buy it, but I was like, I'm not going to waste $30 on this.
They got to sell a lot of the shirts because they can't afford to sign free agents. So.
Yeah, apparently not.
I mean, it doesn't matter now. No one wants to sign with them.
Yeah, well, that's the real problem, but.
Yeah. All right. Moving along. The Blue Jays announced that starting now, they're going to be installing the dirt field for the 2016 season. God, I hate that fucking turf. it's ruined so many careers. Like, just not even the fact that it gets people injured, just the fact that it ruins pitchers because they don't know how. It's a different way of fielding the ball.
So bad. Do you remember when, kicking it old school, remember when the Ravens were supposed to play a preseason game in Philadelphia? And they went out there, and the grass was in such horrible shape that Brian Billick was like, if you don't get this fixed, we're not playing this game. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. I very faintly remember that.
It totally reminds me of any time the Orioles go to play in Toronto. It's just like you see a wide shot, and you're like, how is this Major League Baseball? This is unbelievably, horribly bad. I don't understand how it's 2015. Now it's 2016, and they're going to hopefully join, the modern era of baseball here as opposed to playing on cement with carpet put over it.
Carpet on top of cement. So
bad.
That's what the old, like, if you watch the old videos of AstroTurf, just plain turf, it looks so bad. Like, I saw one GIF, it made it to, like, the front page of Reddit, like, 2 days ago, and it was just a guy diving in the outfield on turf, and he doesn't bounce, he just goes bam and stays there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rug burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's brutal, man. Brutal.
It's I don't understand. That's just so much of it ruins careers.
It does. So hard on the joints. Ugh. Hurts to think about.
I feel bad for like Troy Tulowitzki because he goes from Colorado playing on like natural like grass to going straight to that, and he got hurt again. Well, he got hurt in a weird way, but still, I feel like he was going to get hurt anyway.
Natural grass in Colorado, by the way, is good. There's a joke there somewhere.
No, but that's a school of thought. Let's take this injury-prone player and bring him to our field, which is very subpar and prone to making, causing injuries, and he'll do just fine. Don't worry about it. It's like, what?
And then our star pitcher comes off of ACL surgery. Let's pitch him during the playoffs a ton on our mound. After he came back early from his injury.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Well, hopefully that gets fixed and we don't have to deal with any more turf ever again in any professional sports because it's just getting dumb to look at. The I can never say that. Binghamton Mets. This is a little minor story, but I just found it funny. They sent out a tweet where one of their new promotions was Netflix and chill. I see these social media, the social media for some of these teams is just absolutely horrific. Like, if you're not sure what a term means, don't use it. Because Netflix and chill, like, people think it's like just like laying around watching Netflix. It's not just laying around watching Netflix.
There was somebody, it might have been an Orioles reporter. I don't want to like throw this person under the bus without verifying, but right during the blizzard, tweeted something about it's perfect time to Netflix and chill. And I'm like, I don't think you know what that means. I'm going to see if I can find, I think I know who this is. Let me see if I can find it.
It's just like the how do you do, fellow kids? That's what they're trying to do. And it's very, very cringy.
Like, hello, youngsters. We're hip.
For the uninitiated, Netflix and chill is a young person's euphemism for having a girl over and having sexual intercourse. Just for the uninitiated, so people don't get too confused.
All right, I found it. Do you want to know who it was?
Go for it.
Hey, no, I want to guess. All
right, go ahead.
I want to say Rich Dubroff.
Nope. Nope. This is on Instagram, actually, so it took a little more digging than I thought. It wasn't on Twitter.
Ooh.
The caption is, all this snow means it's a Netflix and chill day. And it's a picture of, nope, it's a picture of a dog and either the boyfriend or husband of Brittany Giroli.
Oh. As soon as you said dog, I was like, that's Giroli.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, okay, Molesky definitely doesn't have Instagram. Dubroff definitely doesn't. I was like, it's down to like Giroli. I don't think Kabako uses his, and Eddie Encina.
Encina's crazy on Instagram. Like he wants to be an amateur photographer.
He's got some great pictures.
Oh yeah, he does. Like, I'm not even knocking the dude. Like, he has some good pictures, and It's just kind of weird because he it's like all he does in his free time is take pictures.
Yeah.
Give him
Teaches
credit.
I guess.
Speaking of this is kind of on subject. The Marlins around like noon today tweeted, "Want to have a foursome with a Marlins player?"
Oh my god! What?
They deleted the tweet, but it's a link to something on their website. It just says, "Want to join a foursome with a Marlins player?" No, no context other than the tweet. Like no picture, nothing, and I didn't even want to click on the link. So
Must not have lived very long.
no, I feel like the intern that tweeted that out probably won't have a job in a couple days.
Oh, so bad. All right, Uni Watch. This. I'm kind of excited for this one. The Pittsburgh Pirates announced they're bringing back their '70s unis as their alternates.
Is that the one with the double decker hat?
Yeah, I think it's that. It's the yellow ones. The yellow like full shirt, or like the yellow full shirt, but it's not gonna be a full shirt. It's gonna look like it or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I like those yellow unis. Like the Pirates knew how to pull off the Bumblebee look. The Steelers don't. Like I want to see the all yellow unis because they have like a bunch of them. There's like one that's all black, one that's all yellow, one that's like black and yellow. Like it looks sick. Like I'm not like I don't like the color pattern because of the Steelers, but it looks good on baseball.
Man, get back to me when the White Sox wear their shorts again. All right,
Yeah. Yes.
What about what is it? The turn back the clock jerseys?
Yeah, or turn ahead the clock.
Or yeah, turn ahead the clock. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Oh my
that
god,
was
those
some wacky stuff, man.
The silver Oriole. Like,
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were being so creative too.
Yeah. Desperate times.
Yeah.
That's the 90s, early 2000s for you.
I found the picture of the 70s Pirates uniform, and it just shows Dave Parker smoking a cigarette in the dugout.
It's perfect.
In like the full yellow.
The perfect model.
Oh, yep. I'm excited. I love throwback jerseys. Like I mean, every team has at least I feel like at least one good throwback. Like, you can't like rag on the powder blue Chargers. Any of the Orioles throwbacks look good. Like
they do. Yeah. When they wore all orange, come on, it's awesome.
Yeah, and then there's
the pajamas. Yes,
the orange pants, so great.
And then what was that? The vanilla one where it doesn't have like the name on the back that they wore earlier this season.
Yeah,
those are nice. Those are tight.
Yeah.
I was tempted to actually buy one of those jerseys because they look so good.
I want to see the Orioles while we're talking about uniforms and throwbacks. This is I think it's like when they moved to Baltimore, they wore this hat. It's a script B, right?
Yeah,
it's a black hat with a script B. Buck Showalter's done some interviews wearing that hat, and I think it looks freaking awesome. And I think it would be perfect with their road uniforms with the Baltimore script to wear that hat instead of like the O's hat, to wear that hat instead. I think it would be awesome.
I could see that.
I just want them to scrap the O's hat in general.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the O's hat
I
either.
like the O's hat.
Since they brought on the cartoon bird, it just outweighs it a ton.
I agree.
Man, it's tough.
It's
kind of stupid that you can only have like two, separate. Well, you can only technically have three. You can have home, away, alternate. You can't have like a third, or a fourth that you alternate in. It seems like.
I feel like the Rangers have 400 combinations of hats and jerseys and uniform colors and stuff.
Yeah, because Cody was in the bullpen. They were wearing blue jerseys. He was wearing the gray road.
Yeah.
And they were just wearing the blue road because
There's some pitcher that talked about how he couldn't keep it all straight when they were on the road. This was recently. I can't remember who it was.
I hope they pay their equipment manager a lot.
The one throwback I would want to see the Orioles do, I know they did it in Chicago in 2014, but I want them to go back to the 90s ones a little bit more.
Yeah, with the black script outlined in orange.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like the early 90s or mid 90s, 95, 96. I dig it. I like the hat from that area. If I had to pick the real cartoon, not not cartoon, like the real authentic bird. It'd have to be that one, not like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I agree.
That
Yeah.
one was just terrible.
They got too clever trying to make it look like, an actual bird painted on the hat,
Yeah.
So.
I'm just glad they went back to the cartoon bird, if anything.
Me too.
Cartoon bird forever.
Yes.
I want to see hopefully they'll do it this year. Maybe a St. Louis Browns uni.
That'd be sweet. I have a St. Louis Browns hat.
Nice.
It's a good one.
If you get a chance, read the St. Louis Browns Wikipedia page. It is a funny read. And I now know why the Orioles don't associate with that franchise anymore.
I'll have to check it out.
It was just like a circus of like an ownership. Like just so much stuff happened. It was really interesting.
There's actually an online store. I saw this on the Orioles subreddit. There's actually an online store that still sells like St. Louis Browns gear, like sweatshirts and.
Yeah, if
stuff
you
like
go to
that.
Hall of Fame too, they have a lot of St. Louis Browns stuff. I got the hat because it was like if I go to a stadium where the Orioles aren't playing, I'm not going to be that guy wearing an Orioles hat,
Right.
But I always wear a hat at a baseball game, so I wear the Browns hat, and it's like, yeah, I'm supporting my team without you knowing that I'm supporting my team.
See, I'm that guy that would wear like the Orioles stuff to the Rays Marlins game in like May.
You'd wear a Barry Bonds jersey to a Boston Yankee game.
I would. Well, maybe not Boston, New York, because I feel like cheater, steroids. If anything, I'd wear like Trout. Be indifferent.
The future Yankee.
Either future Yankee Mike Trout or future Yankee Bryce Harper.
All right, since we were talking about Orioles, that's a good segue in. We're actually going to focus on a little bit of the Oriole news because they're making moves. I'm using air quotation marks. I'm going to murder this, but even though I have the pronunciation in front of me, Adrisamer Despaigne.
Odrisamer.
Is it Odrisamer? See, there it goes.
Yeah.
We got him from the Orioles got him from the Padres for minor leaguer Jean Cassom. I think I got that one right. But it's definitely an interesting trade because I'm just going to call him OD because I'm not even going to pronounce that.
OD all day? Well, it's AD.
Every other day, OD.
Almost every day.
He had a really good half in 2014 because he had a 3.36 ERA. He had a FIP of 3.74, a K per 9 of 6. Nothing that's blowing you away, but you like what you see.
He threw a no-hitter in 7 1/3 innings in one game.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
That's where I first heard the name, and someone, I think it was Cespedes Barbecue, tweeted out Odrisamer Despaigne. If you take all of his letters, is the only name that can spell out San Diego Padres.
They would know that.
Yeah.
Most useless trivia you can ever use.
That's great.
Yeah, but coming into he only started 18 games in 2015, and his ERA ballooned up to 4.84. They moved him to the bullpen, and it doesn't look good for him. I mean, excuse me. The thing with him is that he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, and he walks them, and he pitches to contact. It seems like I'm looking at his numbers and like his percentage. Yeah,
he just doubled his home run rate last year. Which is
that too.
Concerning.
Yeah, especially coming to Camden from San Diego, very concerning to me.
But I don't know. He has a good ground ball percentage. I mean, 50% ground balls. That seems to be like the part of the course with him. But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting move because I don't know. Does he make the number 5? What do you guys think?
I think I'd love for him to be in that like 6 starter role. Jab and I were talking about on BST this week, getting Miguel Gonzalez into that role. Long relief. You need a 6 starter. Go to him. Despaigne seems like that type of guy too, where you'd love to use him in the bullpen. I think Rock mentioned he's got 3 minor league options. So if you want to use him as a starter down the road, keep him in Norfolk, and when you need a 6 starter, call upon him. I don't know that I want him in the number 5 spot, but I don't know that I want the other choices in the number 5 spot in the rotation either.
See, I don't know about Gonzalez. He seems like a Buck guy. I think Buck gives him the ball until he can't anymore. I don't know. He's a
I
very,
think he does too. I think if I was making the call, then I would prefer to see Gonzalez in the bullpen. Although I don't know who replaces him. So
right. You have to have a replacement in order to make that move.
right.
Connor?
He joins the mix of like Vance Worley, Dylan Bundy, and whatever else they're gonna try and put in
Mike
the fifth.
Wright, Tyler Wilson.
Yeah.
That's just a group of depressing pitchers to look at.
I'm okay on Tyler Wilson. Mike Wright is a bullpen guy for me. I don't know what Vance Worley will do here. He'll probably just be a long reliever too. Same for Despagne.
Interesting. I don't know. It seems like he's a very like his ceiling is maybe like a 4 or a 3 if he like actually like goes back to 2014 form, which would be great. I would love to have him then. But
He fits perfectly in the Orioles then. Ceiling is number 4.
But yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm kind of excited for that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
That just shows the disappointment in Orioles fans. We're excited for Odrisamer Despagne.
Yeah.
No, not like Cliff Lee or like an actually probably good pitcher. No, Odrisamer Despagne, who we got for a guy that was in like Aberdeen.
19-year-old who had like a 5 ERA in rookie ball. Yeah. So there's that. Orioles have been also. There's been reports of interest for big-time Timmy Jim Lincecum.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. All right, what year is it? Oh, it's 2016? Crap, I don't like that. Just kidding.
It's interesting because he was good at one point.
He won 2 Cy Young Awards.
Yeah, and he can do backflips on the mound.
He has like 3 World Series rings, and that's so weird to think about.
Yeah.
He's won.
He threw 2 no-hitters?
Yeah.
Against San Diego? Yeah. So what the Orioles are seeking, I guess, which seems like, according to Ed Encina, minor league deal, incentive lace deal type contract, for Tim Lincecum. Awesome. All for that. I think he's going to end up getting more than that. I think he's looking for more than that. So if there's any more interest in that on the Orioles side, I'd say, no thanks.
He's going to get a team that's desperate. Rockies. And that's probably what's going to happen. I mean, I'd love him on a minor league.
Can you imagine him in Colorado?
Yeah, I can imagine what he would be doing off the field in Colorado.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing with Lincecum is that the biggest thing to me is that his velocity and his fastball has just dropped completely off a cliff. It's the same thing as CC Sabathia. He went from even difference in Sabathia, because Sabathia was like high 90s, Lincecum was like mid 90s, and now he's all the way down to like averaging 87 miles an hour on his fastball, and he's throwing a slider up there at 78 miles an hour average, just throw meatballs.
Right.
So, any hitter worth his salt is gonna take that all day.
Yep.
And the thing I find really interesting is in the 2006 MLB draft, the Orioles had the 9th pick, the Giants had the 10th pick. The Orioles picked Billy Rowell, who never made it to Bowie. And
I used to cite this all the time. Why'd you have to bring it back up?
Then the next pick is Tim Lincecum.
Yeah.
Could have had his good years, but maybe we'll get him for his bad years.
No, we just would have traded him away like Mark Pryor and Kurt Schilling and all those guys that won Cy Young awards.
Oh, Jake Arrieta.
Oh God.
Just bring in Sammy Sosa. Tim Lincecum to the Orioles.
Was it Derek Lee or Carlos Lee, whatever one it was?
Derek Lee.
Vlad
Guerrero.
Yeah.
He was McPhail's guy, but anyway. Could he be, if the Orioles do sign him, does he replace Brian Mattis? Because Lincecum's splits are kind of weird considering he's a righty. Last year he had a 307 average against righties, but he held righties to 201.
Yeah, definite possibility. I mean, if first of all, if he's up for that type of role, going from, 2-time Cy Young Award winning pitcher to lefty specialist.
Didn't he do that in
signing
San
a
Fran,
minor
though?
league
He
deal?
moved to the bullpen?
Yeah, he did. But, I mean, as a free agent going somewhere else, is he going to be up for that? I don't know.
True. He's probably going to be looking for starter money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much he's looking for. I think it's going to be more than a minor league deal. That's a definite possibility, and it seems like, at least according to my podcasting partner Jeb, that the Padres are interested in Brian Mattis, and he's still convinced that Mattis could be a part of a deal to bring Cashner to the Orioles. So if all those things happen, then that'd be great. Let's do that. Mattis, San Diego, bring Cashner in, and sign Tim Lincecum to replace him. Perfect.
Hey, speaking of Mattis, the Orioles actually did agree to a 1-year deal today, which is Thursday of the time of recording, for $3.9 million to avoid arbitration. Ugh.
Brian Mattis gets paid $3.9 million.
What am I doing with my life?
I should have been left-handed.
I'm gonna like tape my son's right arm. If I have a son, I'm gonna tape his right arm to his body and just make him do everything with his left arm. Teach him how to pitch and just say, okay, you're gonna become a left-handed specialist because they make money in the MLB for some reason.
Right.
Yep.
What's the old saying? If he's lefty and he's breathing. I mean, that's why Rich Hill still has a job.
Yeah, and that's why Tim Lincecum's not going to sign a minor league deal.
And Cliff Lee is going to sign a major league deal. And that's why Jamie Moyer is going to pitch until he's like 65.
I want to see Jamie Moyer on the mound. I don't know about you guys. I want to see old
let's
man
do it.
Moyer.
I kind of wanted to see Jamie Moyer pitch until he's like 70 so he could be the first player to get Social Security checks and a payroll check.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, breaking records and taking names.
Tim Lincecum's a righty, by the way. Sorry, I like lumped him in with the lefties. My bad.
Well, I mean, his splits say that he's a lefty, but
Right, he'd be a lefty specialist.
He might as well try to be left-handed.
Sure.
He doesn't have anything to lose.
He apparently bats left-handed, so there you go. The Orioles are seeking a left-handed bat too, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, hey now, Efren Navarro is pretty solid pickup.
Oh Lord. All right, moving on. We're gonna touch on a little. We're gonna get a little sad before we get happy again. We're kind of late to this news, but Orioles minor leaguer Ramon Ramirez was killed in a motorcycle accident in the Dominican Republic last Saturday. That's kind of sad. He was 23. It's becoming an issue for the Dominican Republic because it seems like, wasn't it Oscar Taveras who he had an accident in the Dominican as well in a car?
Yeah, it was like a car accident late at night. And then there was another prospect like a week before Ramirez was killed. I forget what team he was with.
Yeah, I remember that too. Don't mean any disrespect, but from what I've read, the Dominican has a real big issue with their road system because their roads are old and decrepit and they don't keep up maintenance. One of the main forms of transportation is motorcycles because everyone's poor. And then the fact that their road signs are sponsored by beer companies.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, the Dominican needs to get their shit together. It says that according to what this SI article says, he was struck by a vehicle while he was leaving a softball game. His girlfriend was riding on the back and she survived. So,
yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm just getting sick and tired of people dying because there's been in baseball there's been like Connor said, there was a minor leaguer week before, there's Oscar Taveras. Past month there's been Alan Rickman, David Bowie. If we're gonna get into that, I'm just tired of seeing some death. I want to see I want some happiness. But
yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah, not much more we can comment on because we didn't know the guy, but thoughts out to him and his family and all that jazz.
Definitely.
All right, getting happy again. Well, I don't know if you consider this happy, but only one Oriole was named in the MLB's top 100 prospects, and that is Hunter Harvey.
Woo! We're number 85.
We didn't get shut out.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
We actually, contrary to popular belief, we do have a minor league system.
We could The only two teams with no prospects listed were the Angels and the I almost said Dolphins. Wow, the Marlins.
The Marlins.
Same thing.
Yeah, and now the Diamondbacks have none because they traded their last two away.
Oh, I don't. It's all right. I'm gonna go. It's a very broad question, but what do you think is the issue with the Orioles minor league system? Like, is it developing? Is it signing guys out of the drafting in general?
Yes.
I mean, I gotta agree with that. It seems like there's just a failure on every single aspect. I mean, at least currently. I mean, some of the picks recently have looked good. I mean, Mike Yastrzemski, he's looked good. That pitcher we signed in like the second round 2 years ago. I can't remember his name. It was after we gave up the picks for Cruz and Jimenez. We drafted this guy. He looked pretty good. I mean, there's a little bright spots, but it seems like Orioles seem to be relying on like international signings because we have Alvarez. There's Urrutia. They signed two other guys from Cuba like a year or two ago. There's Ofelky Peralta. He's a big up and coming name in the system.
Homar Reyes.
I think that's it. I don't know. It's a conundrum.
Yeah, it's a weak system, and that's why they spent a ton of money in free agency this year and continue to be aggressive and trying to plug huge holes in the starting rotation because it really is win now,
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the conundrum of Giovanni Gallardo, and let's ignore the name for that part of the conversation because just ignore who the guy is, but. I think a big issue that they're facing is whether to improve the rotation and give up the 14th pick.
Yeah, it's like 14th or 15th, something like that.
Yeah, so it's it's a tough spot to be in. They still have, if they were to give that up, they'd still have 5 picks in the top 100, but they have a lot of work to do on the farm system.
Yeah, which I don't understand why they didn't go after a guy like Scott Kazmir who didn't have a pick tied to him.
Right.
He would have fit perfectly.
Yeah.
And it seemed like I can't remember what he signed for, but at the time I think it was like peanuts.
3 years. I forget the money value, but it's because he had the 1 year opt out.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, Duquette doesn't like opt outs. And
yeah, it's 2016. Start liking opt outs. All right, you're not going to sign Manny Machado long term if you don't like opt outs. So
opt outs.
Yeah. Right.
It seems to be the part of the course. It seems like a lot of teams just keep on giving opt outs and. I think I think the issue is going to come up with is a lot of teams banking on these players taking the opt-outs and not regressing and not having to eat that money, which is weird to think about. But
don't they usually work out for both sides? Like use Manny Machado for example, right? You sign Manny Machado to a monster deal, but he can opt out at what, like 30, which if he plays well, he's going to do. Some team will sign him. They'll get him for a couple good years and then dramatically overpay him for his decline.
His twilight years.
I'm missing the downside of that for the Orioles. Is there a downside?
Well, if he breaks his legs and doesn't play again, I mean, I'm not necessarily that, but if he gets hurt and he's still on the books, I mean, that's a lot of money that's just sitting there.
But you could say that about anybody. Wouldn't you rather have that clause where he could leave than spend a ton of money and be on the hook for it?
I don't know.
I would.
Right. I mean, I guess that's the crux of the argument. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see when all these deals play out with all these opt-outs. Who's going to take their opt-out and who isn't?
Yeah, for sure. Because we're in an era now, like you mentioned, that all these guys are opting out for more money.
It's going to be crazy because what is it, the 2018 class just keeps on getting bigger because it's Adam Jones, Manny Machado. I can't even remember. There's Bryce Harper, I think.
Bryce Harper, Matt Harvey, and a couple other really, really good players. And
what is it? I think there's 1 or 2 opt-outs maybe now. I can't keep track of it all because all these big names And I think that's, like, I mean, this is me just theorizing, but that's probably, that free agent class is probably going to make payrolls jump dramatically, and I don't think a lot of teams are going to be prepared for that.
Well, according to the Nationals, they aren't.
No money.
No money.
No money.
Flip that curly W upside down. That's what they don't have. Money.
Oh, God. All right, well, moving on from that. Little piece of news. Steve Johnson, everyone's favorite Johnson. That came out wrong.
Speak for yourself.
He signs a minor league deal with the Rangers. He released a note on Twitter, thanking the fans of Baltimore, all that jazz. We will always remember you, Steve, for those 2 really good games against the Mariners. Was it the Mariners? I know one of them was against the Mariners, where he
one was against the Mariners, one was against the Red Sox.
There it is. He went he took a no hitter to the 7th or something with the Mariners, against the Mariners. Am I remembering wrong?
He had a good game against Seattle. I don't know if it was a no hitter or not though.
I might be.
And he pitched in the second to last home game of 2012 against the Red Sox and went 6 innings. And it's the game, and we won, and our magic number went down to 1 that day.
Right.
It's a pretty awesome memory you have.
I don't know if to know.
Apology there, guys. We had some technical difficulties. Connor seemed to have lagged out. Way to go, Connor.
Connor's stupid. It's all his fault. His Wi-Fi sucks.
But we're just gonna hop right back into it. You were talking about how Steve Johnson against the Mariners, right, Connor?
Yeah, I remember him having a good game against Seattle and then Boston at the end of the year, but I don't remember the specifics of it.
Right. I just remember Nestor from WNST.net.
My favorite.
Yeah, Connor's favorite. He was talking about how Steve Johnson was the next big thing and that they need to give the kid the ball more because he's proven he can do it. And,
Really?
Yeah, I remember him saying that specifically on Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah.
I must have missed that. So
add that to the other dumb things he said on Twitter.
Frosted tips. It's hard to take a man serious when he's had that hairstyle in his lifetime.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. All right. Steve Johnson signed a minor league deal with the Rangers, and one last piece of Oriole news. This got a little bit of notoriety on Twitter, but the Shredder, which I'm going to say is probably the worst. I don't know about the worst, but it's a really bad cumulative, rating system that MLB Network uses, and they use it to rank players. I don't know. I can't find any information on how they add all the stats up and how that determines things, but it ranked Chris Bryant and Adrian Beltre over Manny Machado. Thoughts?
What is the Shredder?
That's a good question. That's a legitimate question. I could not find. I used Google Foo, and I could not find a single article or thing from MLB Network or any place else that explained what they do with the Shredder. What's the formula factored in, all that jazz.
Yeah, that's all I got. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know what QBR is. I don't know what the Shredder is. So how can I argue?
It's just kind of mind blowing because Chris Bryant's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the next great players in the league. Adrian Beltre is on the decline. I don't see him being better than Manny right now because Manny had a great season last year. To me personally, it's Donaldson's the number one, as much as I hate to say it because I'm not a Donaldson fan. And then you have number 2. 2A is Manny Machado. 2B is Nolan Arenado.
Speaking of Josh Donaldson, did you see Brandon McCarthy's tweet to him the other day?
What did he tweet this time?
Hold on, let me pull it up. It's pretty good. Connor, how did this get by you? Come on, you should know this.
I don't know.
Let's see, I'm not gonna be able to find it.
Connor, what's your thoughts on the ranking while Zach tries to find it?
Dumb. I don't know. If I had to do it, I'd do Donaldson, Arenado, Manny, Seager. Oh Oh man, probably Frazier.
Really, Frazier over Beltray.
Yeah, and then Beltray, Carpenter, Moustakis, and then maybe like Danny Duffy.
Where's Chris Bryant?
Didn't I say Bryant after Carpenter?
Oh, I guess you did. I didn't know. I didn't hear. I have bad ears. And also Brian Kenny, one of the MLB Network's analysts, just only ranked Chris Bryant. It was Donaldson, Bryant, Machado, Arenado. I think that's what his rankings were, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the picture in front of me, but it was something along those lines.
Well, one of the MLB Network things had Jung Ho Kong as a third baseman when he was a shortstop primarily. So that
get your shit together, MLB Network.
That
get your
just
shit together.
That
Yeah,
just threw
Patrick.
that. That just threw out every sense of decency for me with this whole shredder thing. I have no idea what it is. Never heard of it.
Are we seriously gonna judge baseball players based on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villain?
We need new stats, guys. We don't have enough stats.
No, I'm just learning the old stats apparently. Like WAR and
Like
flip.
WAR and yeah, defensive run saved.
Yeah.
Still learning those old stats.
Any
Crazy stats.
Fangraphs
funny
to
'cause
update
people
their
actually,
dictionary.
Like try to like make up stats. Like I frequent the baseball subreddit a lot, and like there's people on there that sit there and they try to make up new stats. And
Yeah, don't. We have enough, guys.
You just have to ask them one question: when do they go to work? if you're just sitting at home thinking of new stats to confuse baseball fans even more, like at a lower level than like people that understand WAR and FIP and all that kind of stuff, then it's just not worth it anymore to enjoy the game.
What's even more funny about that is like in the comment section, like someone will like put out this really long mathematical equations, like that's my stat, and it's like, oh, another guy goes, oh, there's already something like that.
Yeah, well, that's my. I know I'm being like sarcastic, like a sarcastic jerk, but like, I think Bill James has said that. Like, don't come up with any more batting stats specifically. Like, we have enough. Like, everybody's thought of what you need to think of.
Yeah.
So let's analyze that data and stop trying to come up with other ways to analyze it.
If anything, there needs to be more better defensive stats. In my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because that's the one area I feel like that's very questionable a lot of the times.
It's just hard to judge because everybody plays defense differently.
Yeah, and a lot of the stats don't take in like positioning. Like positioning is a big thing that you can't really account for.
Yeah.
Josh Donaldson tweeted, by the way, as a picture of his MLB The Show 16 photo shoot, and it said, "A little treat for you all." And Brandon McCarthy tweeted, "At Bringer of Rain 20, I fail to see how this is a treat for me."
I love
Brandon McCarthy, best Twitter for MLB player.
Yeah, totally agree.
For me, it probably goes McCarthy, Anderson, and then low key like Dan Herron is funny as hell.
Dan Herron is funny.
Dan Herron tweeting about his workouts and then like what would happen during games and stuff.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great insight. I enjoyed that.
So great.
I just love his Twitter name too. I throw 88.
Yeah.
He just knows he doesn't throw fast.
So great.
His last tweet was, come on, dude. At a J-Lo concert with Jared Weaver, he throws 83, but he dances 100, like the emoji. And it's a video of Jared Weaver dancing to J-Lo.
Oh,
and then he grabs the camera.
So it says once pitchers reach a certain age, they just stop caring, and it's so funny to watch. It feels like.
It's still like Anthony Rizzo. How mad were you when you had to go cover first, Dan Herron? And then he goes, when your first baseman is pushing 300 pounds, you got to bust your ass over.
That's good.
Why the hell did BJ Upton hit so many homers off me? And that probably ties into the last tweet as well. I did better facing Melvin.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. However you say that.
Sure.
For the baseball. Zach is gonna join us for the segue, but we're gonna use this time to send him off and say thank you for coming on, Zach.
Hey, thanks for putting up with me, guys.
Thanks for putting up with us. We had some technical difficulties, and that's always wonderful to have.
Nah, it's nothing at all. It's fun.
Connor, say thank you to the nice man.
Sorry you had to deal with my bad internet.
You don't have to. You don't have to say anything, Connor. Don't be bossed around by him.
That's our dynamic. Come on. All right. Well, that's all, folks. We'll catch you in the segue, and then we're gonna talk a little bit of football before we go off the air for the
good deal
for the show. Again, thank you so much, Zach. We hope to have you back on again soon.
Anytime, boys.
All right. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the segue. This is the part of the show where we do something different. This week's segue is Pop Culture Corner. Haven't heard this one in a while. What we have been doing pop culture-wise, movies we've been seeing, books we've read, shows we've watched, anything like that. And with us, we have to talk about what he's been seeing in pop culture. We have the wonderful Zach Wilt. And since he's our guest, I'm going to let him go first.
Thank you.
So, Zach, what have you been reading, watching, listening to?
I just finished Big Data Baseball, which is about the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's written by Travis Salchik, beat writer for the Pirates, and really kind of fascinating look at them breaking the 20-year losing streak, how they used math and good scouting too, which I always appreciate because I think a lot of people, think that nerds just want to take over baseball and that it doesn't require any old scouting skill, but that's totally not true. And good organizations like the Pirates in this instance have proven that. So it's fun to see, fun to read, and fun to kind of like relive something that, I watched pretty close a couple of years ago, and kind of be refreshed on that streak breaking. I really rolled through this book and highly recommend it. It's good. It's a good read for me because it's like, we're in February and waiting for pitchers and catchers to report and kind of in that lull, I guess, before we get into full swing baseball. So this kind of kept me in full swing baseball. So.
Nice. Were they one of the first organizations to like fully implement stats like that?
They were really one of the early shifting teams. Like to the point where they were like hiding that they were doing it in spring training and stuff. They had like interviews with some of the guys in the minor leagues that said that, that's where they started experimenting with shifts down in the minors. And some of the guys would say that the guys on base, the opposing team would be like, what the hell are you doing? Basically defensively asking a shortstop who's standing way out of position why they're doing this and what they're doing. And, they proved that it worked and basically kept a roster from the year before, very, very similar small additions that, was an under 500 team, and built it into a playoff winner by shifting and using some of these stats and, adding a good pitch framer. So it's a cool read.
Shoot, I forgot. Oh yeah, was John Russell their manager at the time?
No, this was all like the Clint Hurdle era.
Okay. I was just thinking maybe he had an influence on what the Orioles doing because John Russell's the bench coach right now.
Clint Hurdle, all the Hurdle era, and a pretty good look at his life and kind of his background as one of those top prospects that kind of never really made it and dealt with it, and the struggles that he faced, and basically like taking the job in Pittsburgh. Managers. So. Yeah, I think so too. I think, we talk a lot about, Cal Ripken being a manager in Washington when that news pops up every year, it seems like. But I would worry about that because I think these guys that the game came natural to aren't necessarily the best communicators and leaders as managers, Right.
I mean, we talked a little bit about that on Baltimore Sports Today, considering like Ed Reed being joining the coaching staff.
Yeah, totally.
Of the Bills. And it's just interesting to look at, because it's normally those guys who didn't pan out or didn't do great things, who understand the intricacies of the game and realize that it doesn't always go your way, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Anything else you've been listening, watching?
I watched Empire Strikes Back today. Does that count? Great movie.
Yeah,
still holds up. My favorite Star Wars movie.
You never go wrong with Empire Strikes Back. That's like the quintessential Star Wars movie.
It is. I love Empire. So many great moments. Yeah, that never gets old. Never tell me the odds. I love it.
All right. What I have been doing, I'm actually in the middle of a book right now that I need to finish because it's good. It's called Duke Sucks. A complete, even-handed, unbiased investigation into the most evil team on planet Earth. It's by
I
Fred.
haven't heard of this.
It's interesting. It's by Reed Tucker and Andy Bagwell. They're two UNC guys, so it's
Boo.
interesting how yeah, that's what I said at first. But it's interesting how they look at it, and like a lot of the comparisons they do, it's like Duke versus UNC, which I hate it, but it makes a lot of sense because there's one part where they're talking about how Duke's like one and done big men, like people always seem to hype them up, but they never do anything. But if you compare that to UNC's big men who actually do make it to the NBA, what their numbers look like and stuff like that, and it's just really interesting. Like it's shitting on Duke. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what it is. It's just completely like pooping on Duke. But it has a legitimate argument to it why like the media favors them and stuff like that. I can't remember where part was it. I wish I could find it. But oh yeah, there was another part. Like there's a whole chapter talking about JJ Redick's poetry because apparently he took a poetry class and like that poetry's out there, and they like actually sent that piece of poetry to like an English professor and asked him his opinion on it. And let me see, what did he say? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It's because it's one whole chapter, because it's broken up. It's interesting how it's broken up, too, because there's like 26 different charges, and some of the charges have exhibits, like they examine a specific instance. And it's just a really good book. It talks about, the scandals of Duke and things they've did, their graduation rates. Oh, there's the JJ Redick. Let me see. Where are you, JJ? His poetry goes... This is, it says that this is, they sent this to Michael Dumas, the director of Cleveland State University Poetry. And it says, no bandage can cover my scars. It's hard living a life behind invisible bars. Searching for the face of God, I'm only inspired by the poems of Nas. I can't see what my future has in store, but I move forth with the strength of a condor. The courage of a warrior, the commitment of an American soldier. These words describe the soundtrack of my life's song. My mind and body united like the colors of Bennington.
Hurt the dirt. Dirt the dirt. JJ Redick.
Wow.
And the professor says, if Redick is serious about his literary pursuits, he should take a few creative writing classes. He should also begin actively reading all the contemporary poetry he can get his hands on. At this point, he's really not writing poems yet. If you're starting with no experience and only a vague sense of rules of the game, you can't become a good basketball player or even a competent JV basketball player overnight. The arts are not that different. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. It makes you laugh, and it actually like presents an argument. So that's what I've been reading, taking my time off with when I'm not at school. Connor, what have you been reading / listening to / doing?
I got like a triple threat. That's a bad way to explain it, but
Connor triple threat. Let's get it.
I've been reading something, watching something, and listening. So I've been reading the Baseball Prospectus 2016 guide.
Nice.
Picked that up at a still open bookstore the other day, so been reading through that a little bit. Gonna probably just binge read it until pitchers and catchers report, and then just reference it throughout the year.
I'm probably gonna bum it off you if you don't mind.
I mean, you probably have to at some point. It's all good. So I've been reading that. Been listening to a lot of Florence and the Machine because they're nominated for a couple Grammys and they're kind of one of my favorite music acts. So I've been listening to them, and I've been listening to Walk the Moon a lot because they are going to play Pier 6 Pavilion in July. Tickets go on sale, I think, tomorrow. So I'm going to probably pick a couple of them up once I get paid. So
Zach, I think I know what it's like to feel your age because I don't know who either of those two are.
I know Florence and the Machine because I saw U2 and they opened for U2, but that's the only reason I know.
Walk the Moon is the Shut Up and Dance song.
Ah, okay, all right.
Yeah,
cool.
They have a couple other songs that were like played on the radio, but nothing really like that the general public would know other than that, basically. But just music I listen to, kind of like in alternative stuff. So Florence and the Machine nominated for a couple Grammys. I don't think they're gonna win because they're up against like Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, and like popular acts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically a popularity contest. So, but hopefully they can win. And then Walk the Moon in July. Hopefully, gonna take my friend to that
Nice.
if the plan's off online. And I've been watching. My friend showed me this. Shout out to my friend Nicholas. He found this show and it inspired us to take American Sign Language at our college, and it's called Switched at Birth, and it's a show on ABC Family. I've never heard of it before. I started watching it with him, and it's basically these two daughters went to the wrong parents at the hospital. One's deaf and went to like a poor mom without her dad, and the other went to like a rich family, and the dad is a former Kansas City Royals baseball player. Like it takes place in Kansas City for some reason.
That's all every single Hallmark movie and
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
place in Kansas or Texas or Mississippi or some southern state.
Yeah, it's really like I don't get the Kansas City thing, but anyway, so they find each other and they start to like know each other and stuff, and it's really interesting because there's a lot of actually deaf characters on the show, and they're deaf in real life, so they sign throughout the whole show. And while I'm taking the class, I'm learning sign language as well. I can say my name, I know the alphabet, the numbers, I know the numbers up to 15, and then I can say, "Hi, my name is Connor. What is your name? Oh, nice to meet you." Stuff like that. So, very interesting class. I recommend learning sign language. It's very interesting.
All right. That's
Cool.
That's different.
It is,
Uh,
and plus the professor's deaf, and we have the interpreter, so it adds to the experience.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's interesting. I'm going to learn a second language eventually. I don't know if it's going to be sign language, but it's going to be another language. All right. Well, unless you guys have something else, I think that wraps up the segue.
Nope. Zach, you can tell us where we can find you online if
Oh yeah,
you'd
we
like.
didn't do that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Baltimore Sports Today, our daily podcast from Baltimore Sports Report Network. You can find it on baltimoresportsport.com, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to check that out.
All right. Where can we find you on Twitter, social media?
Zach_Wilt, Zach Wilt on Instagram.
Okay. All right. And be sure to check out Baltimore Sports Report because Zach's the editor over there. You know, it's his company.
Yeah, that's right.
He's
At
El
BAL
Jefe.
Sports Report.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. Again, thank you, Zach, for coming on.
Hey, thank you guys.
All right. All right. We'll be back in just a little bit with some football. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Between Two Birds podcast. This week in football, there's really not that much news, so we're just gonna, me and Connor have decided we're just gonna talk a little bit about the Super Bowl and maybe a headline or two if that's it. We talked about it last week, but let's see if our picks have changed. Who do you got for the Super Bowl, Connor?
Still gonna go with the Panthers. I don't have a score or anything.
I see. The thing is, I doubted that Broncos team all the way through the playoffs, and they've proved me wrong every step of the way, and I just don't feel right doubting them again. So I think the Broncos are going to win. I want the Panthers to win. Do you want the Panthers to win?
I want the Panthers to win. I'll be okay if either team wins.
Yeah, I think the same here.
It's-
Especially if it's Peyton's swan song.
Yeah, it's the first Super Bowl that I don't care who wins in a long time. The last one was probably because it always has the Patriots, and I always root against the Patriots. So I'm trying to think because I wanted Seattle to beat Denver in 2013, but I think this is the first Super Bowl where I just don't care because it's either the Patriots are there or the Steelers are there. So
Right.
I don't want either of them to win.
What was the last one that didn't involve the Patriots or the Steelers? Is it Colts Saints?
Colts Saints, and I wanted the Saints to win
Yeah.
because of Katrina.
I'm proud of that one because I predicted that the Saints were going to win at the beginning of the season. I'm proud of that season because I picked the Saints.
That's actually pretty good.
Because that offense was ridiculous. But going back to the permanent Super Bowl, the Super Bowl L, Super Bowl 50 because they don't want to put L because L stands for loser and NFL is stupid. I
L7 weenie.
I want the Panthers to win simply because they haven't won a Super Bowl before. They've been to one, they haven't won one. So,
Yeah, they went in 2004 and lost to the Patriots.
yeah,
They're
it's that's the only reason I want the Panthers to win, because I like it when teams win their first Super Bowl, because that's always a fun thing to see. I just think
like when Seattle won.
yeah, that was really cool to see, because I'm still sour about Super Bowl XL, that Super Bowl between the Steelers and Seahawks, because that was such a poorly officiated game, and I hate the Steelers, and it culminated because that offensive line was so good, and Sean Alexander, he wasn't a great running back, he was definitely an above average running back, but he looked like a god behind that offensive line, and it was so satisfying to watch that team operate with Hasselbeck. And he wasn't a great quarterback either. He was, above average West Coast style. You couldn't ask much. I mean, there wasn't much to ask from him, but he went out and did it anyway. I'm always a Hasselbeck fan, but yeah, I was still sour about that. So I was glad the Seahawks won then. It was painful to see them lose to the Patriots of all teams last year. So there's that. Cam Newton. He's been getting a little bit of a criticism in the media lately.
Oh, wait, he has? I had not heard a single thing about that.
People, for some reason, people dislike Cam Newton, which, I mean, I can understand why. There's definitely...
He's black. Oh, sorry about that.
The NFL is filled with closet racists. No, I'm kidding. Probably not filled. There's probably a lot, but it's not filled.
Well, the stands are filled with them. I don't know about the...
Back in your corner, Connor. But he's been getting a lot of criticism lately, and the big thing is because he dances, because he dabs.
How dare him?
How dare he?
Doesn't he know that there are children watching?
And
how dare he have fun?
And Mike Tolbert pretty much put it out there. He said, "Listen, if you don't want us to dance, stop us," which is a valid argument. I mean, if you don't want someone to celebrate, same in baseball. If you don't want someone to bat flip, don't throw my tater right down the middle of the plate. Don't let them score, and they won't dance.
I saw this great comic. It was Aaron Rodgers pointing to his crotch, and then the announcer goes, "What a great example for the league!" And it shows Cam Newton doing the dab, and the announcer's got his arms up, and he's like, "Dude, show some class."
Morally reprehensible.
I still love all the questions he's gotten at the media days and stuff, and he just sighs because he just hates answering questions at this point, and people are criticizing him. Well, Peyton answers the same questions over, and he doesn't care. Well, Cam is young, and he doesn't have patience for this crap.
Well, it's also Peyton is the face of the NFL right now.
Yeah,
he has so much pressure on him from the higher ups in the office to do stuff to be calm, cool, and collected, and not try to cause outrage.
Yeah, the tweet from the one Broncos fan where it was Peyton in the suit on SportsCenter and Cam was in the Panthers sweatshirt and Panthers beanie, and she goes, "It's not about race. You see how Cam presents himself. He presents himself like a thug." And someone sent her a picture of Tom Brady wearing a beanie. He goes, "Well, I guess Tom Brady's a thug too." Well, it's well, Peyton Manning's the nerd. Who wears a suit to go on SportsCenter? It's SportsCenter, not C-SPAN.
Well, Peyton Manning actually kind of came out and defended Cam Newton because he was he pretty much said that if I was scoring touchdowns like Cam, I'd be dancing too, but I don't score touchdowns like Cam.
No, and actually that's a perfect quote from Peyton. Cam Newton brings in the young fans because there's this guy. He came into my work. He's a Ravens fan. We talk football and stuff. He's always talks about the Ravens and stuff. He was saying, my kid loves Cam Newton. He just he's a diehard Ravens fan, but he loves Cam Newton. He has his own Newton jersey and everything, and he does the little dance and stuff when he watches the Panthers games. So it's bringing in kids to watch football at a younger age than most kids would if they were just watching their hometown team, because they're watching this young kid, Cam Newton. I say young, I'm younger than him, but he's exuberant.
Young relative to NFL standards.
Yes, he's young. He's fun to watch, entertaining.
Well, he's also like the face of the Play 60 campaign, which the NFL likes to hold over our heads all the time.
Yeah, play 60, and who is it? Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He's in a yogurt commercial, and if the NFL, well, if you're gonna advertise food, at least have it be healthy. That's what I say.
I mean, he has a troubled past. I'm not gonna defend him on that. He did some things that he probably regrets, and he got that thug moniker attached to him in the draft, and he people speculate he fell a little bit because of that. But he's kept his nose clean ever since he came to the NFL, and he's been nothing but a proper sport and a good athlete. So I don't get the outrage behind it. He's an exciting player to watch, and the NFL benefits from having him in the game. So there you go.
He's entertainment, like I said. He's the perfect commodity for a league facing so much scrutiny at this period in time.
Yeah.
He makes me want to watch the Super Bowl. If he wasn't in it, I probably would just watch it for the commercials. I wouldn't care about the game.
If it was like, what was it? If it was the Seahawks versus the Broncos again, I wouldn't watch it.
Like maybe the Cardinals one, I'd watch. And
yeah, I would watch. I would have watched it regardless whoever won the NFC Championship, because I like both teams, but I enjoy the storylines behind both teams. I mean,
I would ultimately like the Panthers to go, if anything, just because of Cam Newton.
Right. All right. One more headline before we dip out of here. A little bit of Ravens. The Ravens opened up with 30-1 odds to win Super Bowl LI, which is 51. They're pretty much in the middle, because there's a bunch of teams at like 50-1, and then the Browns all the way at the bottom at 200-1.
Nice.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Super Bowl LI odds. Let's see. Yeah, the Bengals have the 6th highest odds to win the Super Bowl at, what are they? They're 12-1. Yeah. Ravens are literally dead center at 30-1. Then it goes to 40-1, 50-1. You have the 49ers at 60-1, and then the Browns at 200-1.
Where's the Super Bowl being played next season?
Minnesota.
What is the Vikings percentage or Vikings chance? Because they're actually a decent team now.
20-1.
I would still love to see a Super Bowl team play in their home stadium.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting.
Because they brought it up with Dallas.
Never mind. I stand corrected. Super Bowl LI is the Texans.
Well, okay. Well, they're not going to go that far then.
The
never
one
mind.
after that is the Vikings.
Well, hopefully, then
Believe
the Vikings
it or not,
will
the
go.
Texans are right below the Ravens at 40-1.
Well, they made the playoffs.
True.
But they're not healthy. They're not better than the Ravens. If the Ravens were healthy, the Ravens would have been in the playoffs instead of the Texans, I feel like.
Right. That is. I was gonna say something. I completely blanked on what I was gonna say about the Super Bowl.
All right, way to go, man.
Yeah, I'm a disappointment. Oh no, I was gonna talk about it would. You know how amazing it would be if the Super Bowl got held in New York like it did a couple years ago, and it was the Jets and Giants.
That would be kind of awesome.
That would be crazy.
What would it be an annoying thing of, oh look, it's the New York Super Bowl?
No, because it's like the first time. Well, I mean, if presuming it doesn't happen, and if it ever happens and before then, but if a home team doesn't host a Super Bowl, and then it turns out that the Giants and Jets both host it in New York, that would be crazy. I wouldn't mind that narrative at all. I really wouldn't, because it would be a once in a lifetime thing. It's like how was it like '89 the Giants and A's played in the World Series against each other, and they went back and forth across the bay.
Yeah. That narrative I could get behind. It's better than some of the narratives that you have on Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Week.
All right, well, I believe that wraps it up. Sorry for the short football stuff, but there's not too much news that we can really cover right before the Super Bowl. That it doesn't really.
That hasn't been covered by every other single media outlet.
Well, it's not only that. It's just really not. It's like it's Super Bowl. Who wants to talk about anything else but the Super Bowl?
That's true.
All right, Connor, where can we find you on social media and every place else on the internet?
Find me on Twitter at Connor_Garcia. You can find me on Baltimore Sports Report. Um, you can find me on two separate podcasts that I was able to guest on this past week. You can find me, search these all on iTunes. You can find me guest starring on my friend Danny and Ryan's podcast called Backwards K. Search them on iTunes. I talked about mental health awareness and then how baseball helped me in my struggles with all of that. Another great guest came on, Zach Bernard. He talked about his story as well. I really recommend you listening to that. And then I went on my friend Charlie Hicks, or he calls himself Charlie Rounds, his podcast called Football is Life. I know him from middle high school, filled in for our friend Zach. He's their co-host. So check me out on that.
Zach Wilt.
Not Zach Wilt. His name is Zach Hurst. Completely different. So check both those out on iTunes. So if you want to hear me talk football, I talk football on that podcast. So
all right, you can find me at @the_Cody. I think that's where the underscore is. It's in there somewhere. And that's really that's the only place you can find me. You can add me on Facebook. I'm not, go for it. I might reject you, I might not, but go ahead and add me on Facebook.
if you can find my Facebook, go ahead and add me. I haven't accepted a friend request from somebody I don't know in like 3 years, so I have just 30 friend requests pending.
Nice.
I'm such a nice guy.
We talked earlier in the show how about we guest starred on Baltimore Sports Today. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. It was last week. It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I believe, were the episodes. And Between Two Birds is now on YouTube. Go look up Between Two Birds on YouTube, and the full episodes are going to be uploaded there a little bit later than they hit iTunes. And I think it might be a little bit sooner than they hit Baltimore Sports Report. It depends on how that evens out. But go check it out there if you want, if you prefer to have it on YouTube. We don't have Stitcher because I'm not that good with technology, apparently. I don't know how those other guys do it, but I try to give it to you guys. That sounded so wrong.
It's late enough in the podcast. It's allowed.
I try to make it as available as I can to the fans we have. If you guys want it on another platform, don't be afraid to email us at betweentwobirds@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter. You want it somewhere else, I'll see what I can do. No guarantees. But I'm always for accommodating our fans and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to do that. Also, we need more questions if we're ever going to do a mailbag again. So if you got a question, send that question to betweentwobirds@gmail.com, or you can send it to Connor's email address at Curcio, I apologize, @gmail.com. You can also send them to us on Twitter too. That's also acceptable.
Yeah.
All right, I talk too much and it's late, so that's where we sign off. Say bye to the nice people, Connor.
Goodbye.
Bye.